Some deaths go beyond pain, dragging the human body and mind to their absolute limits. In this second part, we look at four more horrifying ends that push the very meaning of suffering. In the winter of 1258, Baghdad, once a shining center of knowledge, art, and power, fell under the shadow of the Mongols. Leading the city was al-Mustasim, the last ruler to hold power there. As the Mongol armies surrounded the walls, he hesitated, believing that Baghdad's long-standing glory would somehow protect it. He was wrong. When the Mongols finally stormed the city, they unleashed a nightmare. Streets filled with blood, houses were looted, libraries burned, priceless books ripped apart, and their leather covers torn off for sandals. But al-Mustasim's fate was even crueler. Dragged before the Mongol leader, he was forced to watch as his people were murdered and his city's treasures piled up before him as trophies. He begged for mercy, but none came. The Mongols had a custom. Royal blood was sacred and should not spill onto the earth. So they found another way. According to some Arabic sources, they rolled al-Mustasim tightly into a carpet, trapping him like an animal. Then, as he struggled for air, Mongol horsemen mounted their steeds and without ceremony galloped across the bundled rug. The heavy hooves crushed his bones one by one. It was a slow, brutal death. No sword, no honor, just a suffocating, splintering end beneath the weight of iron-shod horses. His sons met similar fates. All but one were slaughtered. The sole surviving son was dragged off to Mongolia, where he disappeared into history. In March of 415 AD, Hypatia, a brilliant philosopher, mathematician, and astronomer, met a horrifying fate at the hands of a violent mob. She lived in Alexandria, a city boiling with political and religious tensions. She had become a respected advisor to important officials, which stirred jealousy and suspicion among Christian extremists who blamed her for political conflicts. One day, as she rode home in her carriage, a mob ambushed her. They dragged her into a former temple, now a church, where they stripped her naked. Armed with shards of broken tiles, they viciously tore her body apart. According to some reports, they even gouged out her eyes. The mob then dismembered her corpse, paraded her remains through the streets, and burned what was left outside the city, a brutal act meant to purify Alexandria. Her death wasn't about her religious beliefs. She was murdered because she became a symbol of political power and intellectual independence in a city that could not tolerate either. James Whitey Bulger, once a feared Boston crime boss and FBI informant, spent over 16 years on the run before being captured in California in 2011. By the time he was transferred to a high-security federal prison in West Virginia in October 2018, he was 89, in poor health, and a marked man. Before dawn, a trio of inmates moved on him. The attack was swift and merciless. One wielded a padlock wrapped in a sock, another had a homemade shiv. Bulger was bludgeoned repeatedly in the head and face. His eyes were nearly gouged out, his tongue almost torn off, signs pointing to mob-style retribution, a brutal code of silence for informants. By the time guards found him, Bulger was unrecognizable. The surveillance cameras in the area had either malfunctioned or were intentionally left unchecked. The key figure behind the attack was Photios Freddy Gius, a known hitman affiliated with the Genovese crime family in Massachusetts. Gius had a personal hatred for informants and had reportedly expressed pride in the murder. On September 30th, 1999, 35-year-old technician Hisashi Ouchi was exposed to the highest dose of radiation any human had ever suffered, 17 sieverts, after a shortcut at the nuclear facility went catastrophically wrong. A blue flash lit the room. His DNA was destroyed. His skin blistered and peeled away. Blood seeped from his eyes. Inside, his body was melting. Doctors tried to save him. Transfusions, skin grafts, even stem cells, but nothing worked. His immune system was gone. His organs began to liquefy. Still, under pressure from his family, doctors kept reviving him. When he begged, "I can't take it anymore. I am not a guinea pig," his words were ignored. For 83 days, his body fought an impossible battle. He suffered heart attacks, brain damage, and unimaginable pain. Finally, on December 21st, 1999, He died, his body a ruined shell. His death remains one of the most agonizing in medical history, a slow-motion disintegration of a living man.